enter in my room, no trace left here of you. Cold call another person or two, seems like I'm the only one home. Aligned with the sun, shadows on everyone, no reason to run, hide out inside. Just stay at home, so lost and alone. Be here, unknown, don't tell a soul. Bad taste, can't seem to get it out. Blank space where you shut my mouth. Filled yours with love to spit it out. I thought we wanted the same thing. Trust me, it's alright. Goodbye. Now let me try to sleep, but don't care to say goodnight. It would be a lie. Another fleeting dream. Trust me, it's alright. Goodbye. You never meant anything. You mean nothing to me. Just stay at home, so lost and alone. Be here, unknown, don't tell a soul. Been so down since you left, can't get out of this hole. Stay safe at home, so lost and alone.
Apologies that the watch-along ended abruptly. As I was saying, guys, don't go, because I don't know what happened, but my PC literally just switched off. It was quite scary. I thought it had broken. So if I disappear at any point in this stream, it's because the PC has died. I don't know what's going on. That's something for me to figure out later, but obviously we need to talk about this match. So I apologize about that. But hey, in a day of shit, of course, the technical issues are going to happen. Of course, the issues are going to be on the pitch. Then there is a lot to talk about today. There will be a post-match analysis video released tomorrow. I will watch the game back. I will watch the game back because I hate my life. I hate myself and I hate my life. But for now, let's talk about this, shall we? Now, there has been a development, and this has somewhat softened my stance on the changes at half-time, because that was going to be a big point that I was going to make. And in fairness, I did say, unless there's like a massive injury that's happened, I don't get that change in particular. And that was going to be a big argument I was going to make, but it has come to light that Foden got a broken hand in the first game. Now, I don't know when that happened. There was obviously a challenge that went in on him, so we're wishing him a speedy recovery. Hopefully, I don't know how it works. Like, can you... I'm very ignorant when it comes to that. Can you, like, wrap it up and still play with it? I don't know. But either way, hopefully it's not like a massive break. He obviously had to come off at halftime. That has softened my stance a little bit on the Guardiola criticism, because a lot of what I was about to say was about that. I will still, however, be arguing a point related to that. So that is the state of play. That is the state of play. You can't. Okay. Well, we'll have to wait for that to recover then. I think it was on. I think it was on City Extra, was it? Where is it? Foden may have suffered a suspected broken hand in the first half against Man United. That's from The Telegraph. So hopefully he's okay. Of course. That's off my stance now. I'll get into why in a second. Right, let's talk about the game and what happened. This is obviously going to focus more so on Manchester City this stream. That being said, because obviously you guys are mainly City fans. That being said, it has to be said that United were way the better side, and they way deserved to win the game, and actually it wasn't even close. So we will go in depth about how terrible we were today, of course, whether through individual or whether through structure/tactics. But at the end of the day, United did also play very, very well. So they do deserve congratulations for that. and you can't really be mad about that. We had our worst game today, and a lot of that was because of how they played as well. So they did deserve to win, which is, I don't want to say that after a Manchester derby that United deserved to win, but that would be a lie to say that they didn't deserve it. So that just needs to be said right at the start. That is a thing, because obviously it takes two to tango, and they out-tangoed us. Michael Carrick, in his first game back as United interim manager, got a deserved victory against Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. So that is a thing. That's the thing to say. Right. I'm going to say there are maybe, if we just park the opposition argument to one point, because I do want us to obviously focus on City for today's stream, I'd suggest that there are three key, nor is it hot potato, three key sort of areas of badness / shit that impacted City today. These are reasons and not excuses, because people don't quite understand that. It is fine for me to say that City having some players out injured was one of the reasons why City were bad today. That's not an excuse. That is a reason, okay? I just want to get that clear, because some people get it twisted. Not saying that's the main reason why we lost, but it is a reason. So injuries before the game / in the game didn't help in the first instance. And try and break it down to the three things I think were the most important from a City POV. On a more fundamental level, the individual performances were unacceptable for nearly every single player. Nearly every single player. Donnarumma, man of the match. That's his best ever performance in a City shirt. Not even close either, by the way. He was godly today. And what have we done with that? We've let it go to waste. We've let him down. So that's really annoying. So all those saves mean shit all. So we let Donnarumma down there. That's annoying. I felt Kusanov generally did well as well, in fairness. There was a sketchy moment with Dorgu, but he made it work. Big up to LB for making me bold. Oh no, sorry, it's Wardy who's made me bold. Big up to LB for the raid, sorry, I can't speak. Subbing Holland when needing goals, unforgivable. We'll talk about all the subs in a bit, Wardy, don't you worry. Thank you so much for the super chat, I really appreciate it. Yeah, big up to the Don, because it wasn't even close that this was like his biggest, his best performance, and this is the only positive thing I can really talk about. This was the internal debate I was having with myself in the Donnarumma analysis video that I made. If you get the Donnarumma, who is the one that turns up against Arsenal in the Champions League last season, or Aston Villa in the Champions League last season, or against United today, then I think you can make a very, very compelling argument that the positives massively outweigh any potential negatives. So if we can see this even more, then I'm going to be so on board the Donnarumma train. That's the first thing to say. So he deserves massive plaudits for that. Here's a random movie quote for Wardy. Witness me. That's from Mad Max. So there we go. So big up to Don for that. Yeah, Kusanov as well, generally. Once again, there were some shaky moments. I will need to revisit their first goal. I'll need to revisit it. Fernandes does sort of do Kusanov with his movement, but that might just be because Fernandes' movement was so good and he was probably the man of the match, Fernandes. If you're going to give it to someone on the winning team, Fernandes probably does deserve to win it. Donnarumma was our best player, obviously. Apart from that, there weren't any good performances. There were some, performances, didn't really do anything good, didn't really do anything bad. But they were the only properly good performances. Everyone else is like a 5 at the absolute most in respect to the player ratings. Okay, yeah, you were there, you didn't really do anything good, didn't do anything bad. Were there reasons for that? Yeah, sure, of course there were. But there were a lot of bad individual performances also. I would say that the main one was, and I know a lot of people are talking about Ake, and I'll get into Ake. Rodri. had one of the worst games I've ever seen him have, both on ball and off ball. The on ball especially was so terrible. It was so terrible. The amount of times where he gave the ball away was unreal, in really dangerous areas as well. It wasn't even like, oh, I'll attempt something, oh, but I gave the ball away. It was really, really shocking at his decision-making. Odd. Rodri isn't fit as albeit, and perhaps this will explain it. You know, when it was the Chelsea game, I put it down to injury/fitness for some players. Maybe it is the same thing as well. But regardless, whatever the reason is, the reality remains that he was properly bad. Now, if and this is so individuals were bad, and don't worry, I'm going to talk about more individuals, but that then leads into the tactical situation, because if Rodri is struggling in a game, and he was struggling today, clearly. In the first half, we could see that. Now, the first half wasn't good from City, but it wasn't terrible from City either. The first half was whatever. You can work on that. You can build on that. There were some positives from that first half. Allow me to share them, and I'll touch on the negatives as well. So, we actually, I think set pieces were the most productive methods of, set pieces and the opponent giving the other team the ball were the best modes of chance creation in that first half. They had one from Maguire, we had, which was hit the post. We had a really good chance with Elaine. He wasn't able to get enough power on it. It was a Foden ball, targeting Ake at the back post. Ake does everything right, plays it to Elaine, needs to get more on it there. So that was a shame. The repeatable pattern, and then there was a moment where like Ahmad gave us the ball or something like that. And then I think Shaw did really well, or Casemiro did really well. So the first half wasn't like terrible or bad by any means. It wasn't perfect, obviously, and it wasn't good enough, and I'll get into the main negatives with it. But here was a key positive from that first half. And we touched on it in the watch along. Especially when Dalot got a yellow card, Doku was able to occupy two players. He was getting doubled up on at every single opportunity. It was Dalot and Ahmad who were coming over to him. That meant that there was a spare man available to receive the ball. In theory, that's a good thing, because it means that the spare man can take advantage of the space that has been provided by Doku doing that. The problem was that spare man was Ake. And this isn't even a critique of Ake, it's just a reality. And don't worry, I'll get into a critique of Ake later. He's not very good at crossing. He's Ake. He's a centre-back. So it didn't really matter whenever he had the ball in space, because the other team are like, okay, so who cares? No one cares. But there was a positive concept there, because if you bring on a left back who can take advantage of that, i.e., Aït-Nouri and O'Reilly who are on the bench, then perhaps you can take advantage of that. So there was something to work on from that first half, and it all stemmed from Doku being that magnet. But the problem was we started Ake at left back in 2026. So nothing's going to happen offensively. It's like when Akanji started at right wing, basically, against Arsenal, or when we had Kusanov basically playing at right wing against Real Madrid last season at the Bernabeu. You're not going to have any offensive function there or anything, that sort of thing. But there was at least something to build on. And there were a couple of moments where we were in and around their box, and it was fine. It was actually quite good. There was a period, I can't remember the period it was. It was like I'm going to say the 15th through to the maybe 35th or 40th minute, something like that. I can't remember the minutes exactly. But in that period, we were able to sustain possession relatively competently and be in and around their box. That's where you want City to have the ball. We weren't. The problem was, and if we were able to sustain that for like a whole half of football or a whole 90 minutes, eventually you're going to score a goal, because we're good at scoring goals. It's probably going to happen, even if United defend very well. you're going to create a good number of chances. The main problem, though, offensively in that first half, was we weren't able to get into those areas often enough. And why weren't we able to get into those areas often enough? Well, in my opinion, that first half had shades of the Crystal Palace first half, where they didn't really try to properly engage us when we were playing out from a goal kick, and they were more happier to set up more so in the mid block. The United did still sometimes engage us high, but generally speaking, the main reason why we weren't able to progress was because of their pressing when they got into that mid block. We had second phase problems, is what I'm trying to say. And that was the exact same problem as against Crystal Palace. Now that is exacerbated when Rodri, who is your main player, who you can't speak, who you would like to access our attack. That doesn't help when Rodri is playing like a donkey with his passes. It doesn't help. So it means that Foden, it means that Semenyo, it means that Doku, it means that Haaland can't be accessed by our midfield. So we end up in this constant loop of just it basically being in our own defensive thirds to the middle third, and you don't really sustain dangerous possession. You have the ball, sure. I don't know what our possession was in the first half. Let me find out. We had 72% of the ball, which is good. That's good, but you need it in the right area of the pitch. You want it outside their penalty box, and the problem was we did not have access consistently to their penalty box because we did not have access consistently to our attacking players. To Haaland, to Foden, to Doku, to Semenyo. Even Lewis was technically an attacking player in that first half. Even Bernardo at times was an attacking player in that first half. So it was, again, a constant disconnect between the 3-1 that we had, basically, which was Ake, Kusanov, Elaine, Rodri, and the rest of the team. There was no bridge connecting them. So that was the main problem in the first half. But I've seen this problem before. I've seen it against Crystal Palace. And there was another game I saw it against, and I've forgotten what it was. Everton was the other game. I think Everton was the other game. I've seen City have this issue before. I think Leeds was an example as well. Now, what was the solution? Maybe I'm misforgetting Leeds. I think there was at least 2, maybe even 3. Certainly Palace, certainly Everton. Maybe there was another one. I can't remember. Now, the solution, and you'll notice we won all those games. The solution in those games was to simply drop a body back. Because then, and this matters even if Rodri's having a good game, by the way, but it helps because now Rodri has some support, because for whatever reason, he was having a bad game with his passing. Basic passes were just going wrong. I'm not expecting Rodri to play beautiful pings for 90 minutes consistently, but I am expecting basic fundamental passes to be able to be made. So if he's not making it, you have to help him. Now, I don't care who that player is. Foden was the player to do that against Everton and Palace. Lewis can also do that. Bernardo can also do that. We didn't see enough of it in that first half. So what I needed to see, and what I said at the half-time was, okay, the first thing to address is bring on O'Reilly for Ake, because Ake's struggling defensively and offensively, and we can maybe exploit that +1 that I alluded to earlier. So bring on O'Reilly for Ake at half-time. That's a good change. But I wouldn't make any other changes at half-time. RE personnel. What I would do is I would drop one of Foden, or Lewis, or Bernardo, or 2 out of those 3, or even all of them, to help get out of that loop, that cycle of not being able to go from our box to their box. That phase 2 in the middle where it's that squiggly line, ball gets up the pitch, don't worry how. That's what we were struggling with today. That's what we need. And I'll repeat, we saw this solved against Everton, against Palace, and there was another example or 2 there. But Foden went off at half-time. Now, did Foden have a good first half? No, not in my opinion. He was quite ordinary. A lot of that did stem from the fact that we couldn't access him, but generally speaking, he was quite ordinary and it wasn't acceptable. Nevertheless, I was frustrated that he got taken off at half-time because of what I've just said there. Now, it has since been brought to light. We've had mixed messages here. Someone said he has broken his hand, and then Pep said, no, he's actually not injured. If we could get like a final resolution on what happened there, just so I know who to be angry at, that would be great. Was he injured, yes or no? I need to know that. That's going to be quite important for where I direct my anger. I can't spot... Oh, Pep has denied this claim. Right. Pep has denied it. Okay. In which case... I'm going to... I don't know, because that's a weird claim to make that he broke his hand. Oh, no, he hasn't. Right. Well, if Guardiola's denying the claim, then I'm going to operate under the assumption... that Foden was not injured at halftime and the reason why Foden was taken off was not due to injury. It was a tactical decision. I think that's it. Let me know if you think that's not a fair premise to start from. But if Pep is denying that he's injured, then I feel like it's fair for me to assume he wasn't injured and he wasn't taken off due to injury. So, that's something to say. In which case, I can now go even harder on my critique of Guardiola here. You can't take off Foden at half-time. You have to drop him deeper. If you're going to bring on Shirky at half-time, okay. I mean, I wouldn't have done it that early, but he has. You don't make the midfield weaker doing that. Is the mic low? Sorry. Let me do that. Shall I bring it close to my beautiful mouth? There we go. Hopefully that's a bit better. You don't make the midfield weaker. How many times in that first half did we get cut through the centre? How many times did that happen? You can't make the guys, we're not listening here. I'll repeat because people aren't listening. I don't think Foden had a good first half. However, the problem that was being presented by United would have been resolved by moving the player deeper. The solution was not to make the midfield weaker. How does one make the midfield weaker? You take off Foden and you bring on Shirky in his place. That objectively makes the midfield worse and weaker, and we saw it in that second half. Henry, big up to you. Thank you so much for renewing your membership. Your random football is Danny Alves. There we go. Dear me, just smash my mic. You don't make the midfield weaker, is what I was saying. What you do is if you want to bring on Shirky, you take off Semenyo. Or you take off Doku. That is what you do. What you do not do is make it worse. That's what you cannot do. But that is what we did. And guess what, guys? That's what we saw in the second half. Funnily enough. The subs killed us. Doing that killed us. It made us worse in the midfield, out of possession. We got even worse in possession as well. The sub, and I was going to excuse him if it was an injury, but I'm sorry. That's one of the main reasons why that second half was the worst half of football we've seen all season. And it's a half of football which is up there with some of the worst performances from last season. That is why we were so bad in the second half, unfortunately. That is why. The in-possession made... Because we didn't change the structure. I'll watch it again. As far as I could tell, we didn't change the structure. We still built up with like a 3-1. We didn't really have Bernardo dropping that much deeper. Or Lewis dropping that much deeper. or Shirky doing it. It was the exact same structure as far as I could tell. I'll watch it again. But it looked to be the exact same, so the structure didn't change. The problem in the first half, of course, individuals should have been a lot better. But the main problem was that a lot of those individuals were doomed to fail because we couldn't access them. So the changes at halftime didn't change anything for the better. It changed it for the worse. And we saw it for their first goal as well. It's a lazy leg that stuck out, which doesn't even deny their attack. How many times in that second half did they just easily cut through us? Because we made ourselves weaker in that second half. That is ultimately why we were so bad in that second half. It was self-inflicted. And that's why I'm so angry. Because that was avoidable. And look, if a player's playing badly, then fine. Whatever. That's happening. But it's up to my manager to remedy that or help them out. And the way you do that is to not do what Pep did at halftime. You need to give Rodri more support because he was struggling. And we just had to do it anyway. So you have to do that. I don't care who it is. Do you drop Foden deeper? Do you drop Lewis deeper? Do you drop Bernardo deeper still? Based on the fact that Rico Lewis was at right back, you probably drop Rico Lewis deeper. Foden was the one who did it before, so that's why I suggested him, because we know he can do it. But I don't care who it is. It can be Rico, I don't really care. But what you don't do is limit yourself with those options. You don't do that. But we did do that. And that's on Pep, unfortunately. So, of course, a lot of individuals have to take responsibility here. And I'm not letting them go. And I've even spoken about Ake for their second goal. But... or Lewis, in fairness. But I just don't understand that decision. If it wasn't enforced by injury, there is no tactical reason why you would do that. All you've done is made your team worse. And we saw that. We literally saw it. There's not even an argument to be had here. It was way worse in that second half. Should have been 4. Could have been 5. It was embarrassing. Didn't have the desired effect. Had the opposite of the desired effect. Just, I can't understand it. And if he was injured, I'd maybe get it. Even then, even if I assume he were injured, drop Rico deeper then. Fine. If you can't do that, if he has to go off, fine. Drop Rico deeper then. But then probably also bring on Reinders as well. It's tough. I don't get it. Why is he done? I'm not just putting it all at Pep's door here, but Pep now has trialed Shirky in the 8 in 2 different games now. And he did it from the start against Spurs. Didn't go well. And he's tried it today in a Manchester derby. I don't get what's going on there. Now, maybe in the future, or maybe even later this season, who knows? That's something that can be trialed, like slowly but surely. These are not the games to try it in. I don't get what Pep's doing. I don't get it. This isn't the time to be experimenting and dicking around. We're already a shambles as it is, defensively. I don't really get it. I don't get what's going on. Don't get what's happening. Notorious Hunter, thank you so much for the super chat. The Fine Fantasy Club appreciates him. Yeah, again, I don't think Foden had an especially good first half that game, but I mean, we saw what happens if you make the midfield worse and you make the build-up even worse and they make the phase 2 play even worse. I don't really get the decision-making process. This isn't about, again, people will run their agendas. This isn't about me trying to defend a player. This is about me trying to ask, what was the tactical justification in doing that? Because it didn't work. And I'll repeat, I don't even need to say anything more other than the second half proves me right. A random movie quote for you, matey. This is from The Exorcist. Father Dyer, my idea of heaven is a solid white nightclub with me as a headliner for all eternity. And they love me. Okay. Weird. I'm sorry to hear that, Joe. Sorry to big up to Abanab as well. Thank you so much, matey. So much pain. It looks like Madonna were decent. I hope I saw Ake's last performance for City. Yeah, it was bad. Shall we get on to Ake now? We'll get on to their second goal as well. There's people are still not getting it, which is it's like a social experiment. It's fascinating. The second half literally proves that I'm right. I hate to say I told you so, but the second half literally is a big I told you so. Ake. I don't get why he started. That was the one where I was like, okay, we'll get on to Rico Lewis because he wasn't good enough either. But I get Rico Lewis has to start because there's no Nunes. So that's whatever. I can't have a go at Pep for I can't have a go at Pep for starting Rico because Nunes wasn't available. Because Nunes had the flu. So Rico has to start at right back. I can't have a go at Pep for that, obviously. Didn't get Ake starting. That was weird. Yeah, it just should have been O'Reilly from the start, realistically. I don't think it should have been Ait Nori, to be fair. Because is the first start you want to be a Manchester derby? Probably not. So I felt Nico O'Reilly should have started instead. And it doesn't help that Diaz is out. And it doesn't help that Gvardiol is out. And it doesn't help that Nunes is out. And it doesn't help that we haven't formalised the signing of Gahey yet. All of that adds up and it doesn't help, obviously. But it's still not really good enough, is it? Best, thank you so much for the super chat, matey. I've been a City fan since I was 9 in 2010. This is the worst derby I've watched. Toone's lucky, it should have been 3 at best. We need a change. I think that 5, 6, 7 is more realistic. It is far more realistic. But thank you so much for your super chat. Yeah, it was pretty dire, wasn't it? It was pretty Danny Dyer. Ake's positioning for their second goal is bad. He was really bad for, I think, like the one that eventually, there was one that got ruled out where, again, he did bad for that. Thank you so much. Here's your fortune. You are the master of every situation. That's your fortune. You guys and your fucking thing. I don't do that. I don't do that. What am I saying? Yeah, so Ake just had a bad game, and he has to go, obviously. He will be gone by the end of the season. He's not surviving until next season, obviously. He's just done as a City player. If you wanted to play Ake, I mean, don't, but play him at like left centre-back rather than left-back, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know. I just probably wouldn't have played him. They kept forcing us down our left side as well, and why wouldn't you? Because we've got Ake at left back, and we have a Lane who is technically both-footed, apparently, but is still officially a right-footer. So it meant that our left side build-up was weak. Didn't help that we had Foden right central midfield. It didn't help that Doku wasn't good individually either. Wasn't much of an outlet either. Again, fair play to United for identifying that as an issue. What's that? Kusanova right back like Arsenal away. I mean, it's an option, but you know my thoughts on Kusanova right back. I don't like it for a number of reasons. So that was a thing. And obviously it's unacceptable by Rico Lewis on their goal as well. It's not good enough. He's just like caught lacking. Ake doesn't do well enough either. But it's pretty poor by Rico. He's not a right back. That's the excuse. That's the reason. But it's still not good enough. You need to be picking up your man, and United do well. But of course, there were even more chances than that, weren't there? And that's because we made ourselves a lot easier to beat in the second half. Thanks, Pep. Thanks. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Great decision-making process. Good process, boys. Good process. Good process, boys. Good process. I will rewatch the first goal. I'll rewatch it all. There's a couple of things to say. Shirky, unfortunately, when he came on, he was bad. Generally. Didn't have the desired effect. We didn't even drop Shirky deep, so what was the point of doing it? So we didn't even get that effect, and he was just bad on an individual level. Before the goal as well, so he gives the ball away, but it's a set piece, so it's whatever. Someone like tell me what are City doing with how many bodies they've committed forwards? How can it possibly be that if you don't win that second ball, you are in like a 4-on-3? In what world is that the correct way to set up from a free kick? In the center of the pitch as well, by the way. That's mad. It's not even like we were chasing. It was 0-0 at that point. It was not even, and what time did that goal go in? 65th minute. It's not like we were fucking desperate to score at that point. We still had like 30 minutes left in the game. Why are we acting like it's the 95th minute? I don't get what's going on. I don't get what's happening there. It's really weird. And then, again, it's unfortunate. I don't want to blame like Shirky entirely, but he doesn't do enough to stop the whoever it is in Mbumo running forwards. He just sticks a lazy leg out, and then that's the end of it. And now they're on a 4v3 or a 4v2, whatever the hell it was. Again, making us easier to attack. Thanks, Pep. And then, like, from there, I just felt like, right, well, that's it then, innit? That's just it. Because we got worse going forwards. We got worse defensively. We got worse in the midfield. And I just knew it 1-0. Just in my heart, I just knew that we were going to lose. I could just tell. I could just tell. I wasn't getting the vibe that we were going to score a goal because we weren't getting better. We just weren't getting better. God, it annoys me. I'm very angry at a lot of people today. Oh, gosh. What else is there to say? What else is there to say? I don't know. Injuries haven't helped. Individual performances didn't help. But tactics also didn't help. We can't really control our injuries. Okay, let's park that to one side. I mean, you can control individual performances to a degree, but within reason. You can control tactics, though. Like, you can. That's why I keep going back to it, because you can. You have to do that. Ryan, maybe. Although I did have the banana for the second half, and it didn't help. Didn't help. So that's the thing. Focus on the cups. Yeah, well, look, never say never. Never say never. Because at the end of the day, there are 6 points in it. So never say never. Realistically, though, we're not winning the title, are we? Realistically, it's not happening. It's just not happening. I'm still so disillusioned about what this City side is supposed to be. I don't get it. I thought I always get sucked in, man. I thought we looked really good and professional against Newcastle. I liked that. I liked that performance a lot. I thought we were really good that game. But it's just the same, isn't it? It's just the same. The Sunderland game, I wrote off as a one-off because, okay, we created so many chances, we just didn't get them. Okay. Chelsea game, I did not write off as a one-off. I was upset at the structure in that game. Brighton game, that was not a one-off either. That was not a one-off either. I was very frustrated at that game as well. It is a pattern, and I don't accept that. I didn't accept, sorry, that it was just, it's because City aren't finishing their chances. Sunderland game, fine, because that was that game. But the rest, no. The rest, no. And it's just like, it's continuing the pattern of shit. And I get it. Gvardiol's out. Diaz is out. Whatever. But it's still... And Nunes was out today. I get that. But it's still not acceptable to not win a game in 4 in the Premier League. Draw, loss is unacceptable if you're Manchester City. I don't care if Rodri and Gvardiol and Haaland are all absent for a game. Love you too, true citizen. I don't care. It's not good enough. It's not unacceptable. And I just don't think that we're gonna... I don't think we're good enough to win the title this season, which is a shame, obviously. People scapegoating anyone, true citizen, are idiots. Like, I'll be real there. This isn't basketball. This is football, and it's an 11-man game. It can't just be down to Pep, even though I've had a big go at Pep today. It's also not just because of Pep. There's 11 players on the pitch. They all have to take responsibility. It's a team game at the end of the day. This isn't basketball where you do look to your star player to save you. That's not what football is. It's a team game. So yeah, if anyone's picking out one player, this is just the excuse to get the agendas in. So if you hate Rico Lewis, if you hate Haaland or whatever, and I'm not excusing their performances, but I'm just saying that if people are only wanting to focus on one player or whatever, then that tells you I guess there's just no value in a conversation with them, I suppose. And on Haaland, wasn't good enough either on an individual level. Now, we didn't supply him enough, of course, because we weren't able to get into the final third well enough because of the issues I've outlined. But even in the moments where Haaland had a chance to do something, he was not good today. Now, is it just because he's played the most minutes of any City player? Is it because he's been running on nothing for the past however many games? Perhaps it is. Maybe that is the reason. Once again, it's not an excuse, but is that the reason why? Because we know that, well, in my opinion, Haaland is the best striker in the world. These aren't the performances of the best striker in the world. Is he just shattered? Is it the lack of rotation that has now affected his performances? Perhaps it is. I've never seen a situation like that where you need a goal and you bring off Haaland, but that's how much of a non-factor, I suppose, he was. And he had 80 minutes to do it as well. So that exists also. Yeah, that was embarrassing, wasn't it, DHD? When they were playing like City against us. It was embarrassing. Yeah. Again, I don't think anyone played well apart from Don and Kasanov. Semenyo, I get why he started today. If you're going to bring on Shirky, you should have probably taken off Semenyo. I don't think he had a good game either. He had that one shot which was just wide, but apart from that, he didn't have a good game. I did like a lot of what Doku... I liked some of what Doku did in that first half. He got Dallo on a yellow card. And I've spoken about that numerical edge that City had on the left, and that was because of Doku, so fair play to him for that. But yeah, just everyone... Well, second half is the worst performance I've seen from City in since 2024. That second half is worse than any... No. Now, to be fair, was Real Madrid worse? That was 2025, wasn't it? That might have been worse. I don't think it was. It's up there. It's competing. Those two are competing with one another, I'd say. I'm trying to think of what was the worst performance of 2025? I feel like it was... Oh, Arsenal. Or was that 2025? Maybe it was Arsenal. Yeah, fairs. Maybe it was Arsenal. Certainly up there, though. Yeah. Fairs. I'd put that performance up there, though. I'll be real. I think it was... Because we could have conceded 5. The reason why we conceded 5 that day was because Arsenal's finishing was superb. If we didn't... If Donnarumma wasn't on it today, it could have been 5. I think it is that bad. I don't think that's an exaggeration to say. So there we go. That's why, in my opinion, City lost today. 4 main reasons. United were a lot better than us and they deserved the win. That's the biggest reason. Injury, not ideal. Injury situation, not ideal, obviously. Individual performances, of course. But also, I can't let Pep be excused because I just don't know what you're doing. I still do not understand those changes at all. At all. And I don't understand the second half approach either. Even if you want to park the changes to one side, you got to change the approach in the second half, and we didn't. It got worse. It got worse. So, that happened. And to be honest, I don't know what the solution is. To be honest, big up to you, Kev. Well done, GG. I don't know what the solution is because I'm pretty sure the City are out of the title race this season. I'm pretty sure about that. I'm quite confident now to say that. Never say never, because mathematically you never know, but realistically, that's the end of it, isn't it? Realistically, that is the end of the title race. So what can City still do? Well, we still need to finish at least second, because otherwise it's embarrassing, isn't it? I still want us to be going for it in the Premier League, of course. I'm not saying we give up altogether. We still do as good as we can do. That's the Premier League, though. We're probably in a cup final, at least. It's only the League Cup, but we are probably in a League Cup final. This is a good thing. So that's nice. We're still in the FA Cup as well. And we play someone shit next at home, Salford. So we've got a chance to win a cup. And I know it's not likely, because whatever, but we are still in the Champions League as well. We are still in that competition. Lots of people have said that this City side is one that is maybe better suited to winning a knockout competition than it is a title. And maybe I agree with them. And no, in fact, I do agree with them. Because I don't think that we're the best team in the league this season. And to win the league, you have to be the best team in the league. You don't have to be the best team to win the Champions League. We aren't the best team in the Champions League, but we have a better chance at winning that, in all honesty. Because we know, because if Donnarumma has a game like this, in a knockout Champions League game, as he did last season, you got a chance of winning. You got a chance of beating anyone. Now, that works equally as well. What if you get the Donnarumma from 2, 3, 4 Champions League campaigns ago? Different conversation to be had. It works both ways, but we've seen what it can be. And Haaland's not performing right now, but we know that Haaland's capable of those moments also. So there is a world. There is a world where we can win the Champions League instead. What is the actual solution, though, here? In the long-term solution is players come back from injury. You sign someone like Anderson. The new players have had a whole season to embed. You're just a better team. What's the more short to medium term, though? Like, what's the this season solution? What's the this season solution? Honestly, I don't know. I think that we have to not play Haaland against either Bodø/Glimt or Wolves. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Let me look at our fixtures. Okay. Right. Short term. That's what I think we should do. I know Bodø/Glimt's a must-win, whatever. But we should be beating Bodø/Glimt. I mean, we should be beating United. I would rest Haaland, and I'd also probably throw in Foden in there as well. If we can. I don't know what players are available, though. Let's assume the players are available, though. Omar's back. Okay, great. I would rest Haaland. I would rest Foden. I would probably... If Rodri's able to be rested, I'd rest him as well, but I don't know if that's possible. I don't know what the Nico situation is. If you can't, you can't. But the minimum, I'd do those two. I'd throw Shirky in there as well, actually, because I don't know how else to explain. Not that he needs rest, because it's a thing, but I just take them out of the team for a little bit, whether it's because of rest or whether it's due to just general performances haven't been good enough. I'd take them out of the Bodø Glimt game. I'd take them out of the Wolves game. I don't care. You can look at the Wolves game and go, isn't that a good game to get a feel-good win? Well, Pep tried that against Exeter for Haaland, and it didn't work. So that's what I would do. Those are two games which we should be winning quite easily. Rest some key players in those games. Reintroduce them for the Galatasaray game, which is on Wednesday, the 28th of Jan. That's what I would do. So that would mean that... you can't really rest Bernardo, though, can you? We don't have the bodies. You start Reinders, one of Rodri, Nico, and maybe just like throw Bernardo in that. I don't know. The point is I'm trying to make is I would like rest them. Maybe I'd even start Lewis in midfield if Nunes is available to play at right back. The point I'm trying to make is short term, rest the key players. Whether there's a physical issue because of fatigue, and I think that a lot of that is coming into play for a lot of these players. Whether it's a mental issue because we've just not won a game in a minute, whatever it is, I think the key is to take the player out of the team for a little bit of time. For just those two games. Just those two games is what I would do. And then bring them back against Galatasaray, because the Galatasaray game leads into 3 very challenging games. We have Spurs away, Newcastle at home in the semi-final, and then Anfield. Even if we're not going to win the title, I still want us to do well in those games. I still want us to try and do well. So that's the thing to do in the short term. What is the thing to do in the more medium term? What's the thing to do in the medium term? Because I think what I'm basically trying to say here is, look, I love simple solutions. Who doesn't love a simple solution? X is bad. Get rid of X, replace with Y. Problem solved. And I'm seeing a lot of that. It's, just swap Haaland out for Marmoush. It's just swap off Foden for Shirky. It's just swap, I don't know, Ake for O'Reilly. I'd love it to be as simple as that. The second half today illustrated it's not as straightforward as that. People like simple solutions. This is not a simple solution. It was the same last year, Musty. You're absolutely right. What was the pattern last year? Take out De Bruyne and we'll be so much better. Okay, well, that happens and we weren't. We'll take out Foden and we'll be so much better. Well, that didn't work. Okay, we'll take out McAtee and we'll be so much better. Well, that didn't work. We didn't get to that point, but I'm sure if Echeverri were given more game time, we would be saying, those people would be saying the same thing as well. It's not as simple as that, I'm afraid. And I wish it were, because then I could just say, do that. But it isn't that simple. Otherwise, we would have done it by now. It's not that straightforward. And again, the second half illustrated that fact. There has to be a more fundamental change. Players returning will improve that. Maybe starting one of O'Reilly or Nori improves that. Starting Gahey and Diaz when they come back into the side helps as well. That improves that. Playing Nunes at right back helps that. Of course it does. But is that enough in its own right? Because even against the side like Chelsea, we had a lot of those players on the pitch and it still wasn't. I know players went off injured, but there was still a lot left to be desired there. I don't like the 3-1. I want us to abandon it, to be honest with you. That is the change I think I want to see. I want us to abandon this shitty little 3-1 because my rest defense does not fucking exist and it's pissing me off. If you're playing a back 5 team that's only going to defend and offer nothing going forwards, then fine. Play it. If you're playing Burnley at the Etihad, then fine. Do it. And I'm not. I need to say, I don't think this is the main reason why we are not playing well recently. The 3-1's got us some results. But I'm just trying to offer, like, what could be a more fundamental change. I would start there. If we're talking about more fundamental changes, rather than just, oh, we'll take that player out for that. That's not analysis. It's not that simple. Like, even though Kyle Walker was shit last season, the amount of people who said, oh, let's just take Walker out of the team and we'll be great. That was never going to be the case. That was never going to be the case. Not excusing Walker's performances last season. I'm just trying to reiterate that it's never as simple as one player in, one player out. It's never that straightforward. Give me a 3-2 or a 2-3. Give me 5 in rest defence. Not 4. It's not good enough. We are clearly frail. We are clearly susceptible to counters. We are clearly susceptible, generally speaking, even in settled phases. But the main problem is we don't have, in that instance, I can't speak, in that sense, in that instance, we have no goddamn rest defence. We commit too many players forwards. And Roger is left isolated. And he's just coming back from injury. And he struggled today. I don't care how you achieve it. I don't care how you achieve it. If whether you invert a fullback or just do what was working, actually. Actually, I do have the fucking solution. Just do what was fucking working. It's not hard. It's not hard. When did we change to this, man? Can someone pinpoint the game? When did we change to this? Like, as the main policy. I'm going to have an agenda against this shitty little 3-1. I didn't like it at the start of last season. I know we got the win against Chelsea. I said, oh, this is interesting. But I even pointed out the weaknesses and frailties in that shape. I didn't like it. And I said it at the time. This is a risky ploy. When did we go from a 2-3 to a 3-1 as the main source of formation? When did that happen? I need to know. What was the reason for that? What's the reason for that? Why was that a thing? I need to go back. I need to go back and look. I can't remember when it was. We've gone away from that recently. And I repeat, I'm not saying... No, that was a 2-3 musty. I'm not saying that's the only reason why, because I've gone into this stream how there are no such thing as simple solutions. And it's not as simple as going back to that other shape either, because the individual performances have to just improve, generally speaking. But that can be a step in the right fucking direction. I can't remember when it was. Was it the Sunderland game? I think against Fulham. At Sunderland. I was thinking Sunderland. The 3-0 though. Yeah, because that's when Nunes played at right centre-back, wasn't it? Yes. Yes, I remember my analysis video. I remember saying, oh, and Nunes played in his right centre-back role today. And then I think from there, I don't think we've looked back. And look, I'm not saying it can't work, because it can get us wins, obviously. I'm not saying it can't. But certainly against the better sides, we're struggling. Even against Palace, Nunes pushed up to that wing at times. Can't remember West Ham. No, it's got us loads of wins, Musty. It got us a Sunderland, Madrid, Palace, Brentford, West Ham, Forest win. I'm not suggesting that it's a bad shape fundamentally, and they can't get you wins. I'm just saying that I don't get why we moved away from what was working, and now we've just not seen the 2-3 ever since. And we couldn't, and in fairness, we couldn't, well, I was going to say we couldn't use it today because of Nunes, but we could. You could have inverted Lewis and started an Aït-Nouri or an O'Reilly, and then just placed Semenyo as the out-and-out right winger. So you could have done it, actually. You could have done it. Yeah. How many of those games was the case where the opposition was shit? Well, here are the games. I'll need to look back. I think big up to Sky Blue Times on Twitter. He's got like a just so I don't have to like go back and look at my own videos to see like what did we do. He's got like all of the in possession and out of possession shapes that we've used this season, so I'll go back and check. But Sunderland, that was at home. Madrid, in fairness, but that was a bit of a weird game, wasn't it? Palace, okay. Brentford at home, whatever. West Ham at home, whatever. Forest away, we got a little bit fortunate towards the end. And then Sunderland, Chelsea, Brighton, Exeter. Well, I can't even remember what Exeter was. Newcastle. And today. Bring me back, my beautiful 2-3. Please, bring me back. Please bring me back. Right. Don't start Ake then. You know what I mean, Ryan? Just you don't have to start Ake. That's the thing. Shall I come to the chat? Because I've not really addressed the chat properly. What do you guys reckon? No, I'm not doing player ratings, Naveen. I'll be so honest with you. I can't be bothered. I properly can't be bothered. That'll just make me even more miserable. Just make me more miserable. Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question. Excuse me. Ake, leave the football before the football leaves you. He'll be a fine player elsewhere. It's just it's done for him. It's done for him. Kev, absolutely it is right now. This is how it works. You get bragging rights. Absolutely. Why change the out possession pressing structure? I don't like our, I think I've said it before, I don't really like our diamond press. I get it. Just don't like it. Is a reaction to sound midfield structure is a mess. Bernardo everywhere, the 10 behind the striker, and Rodri or Nico alone. In games like this, it doesn't exist. It literally doesn't exist. Because my midfield is a 1. I've got 6 attacking players, and I got 1 midfielder. Can I have a midfield? Against teams like this, anyway. Play like that against Forest. Play like that against Palace, fine. But this is a pizza day. No, I had naughty. I'm going to my parents' house tonight, to be fair. I think we're having pigs and blankets and lovely stuff. I had pizza like yesterday. I had pizza and proper Russian vodka yesterday because like we had people come around and we played Mario Party. Put the 4-4-2 out of possession in the bag. I prefer a 4-4-2. You guys know that's my favourite. It just doesn't suit all of our players. It suits some of our players. I'm pretty desperate to get Shirky into the starting 11 though, and I don't think a 4-4-2 out of possession is beneficial for Shirky. That's the only problem I have with it. That's the only reason why I've not been pushing a 4-4-2, because I love Shirky and I think that the best City team, in my opinion, has Shirky in it. But a 4-4-2, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily directly benefit him. Because you can't play him in the midfield too, obviously. You don't really want him out at right midfield, because way more burden gets put on you in a 4-4-2 as opposed to a 4-3-3 if you're like a right-sided player. I don't really want him leading the press with Haaland. So it's tricky. It's why I've not really been pushing it. And it's why I did suggest we play 4-3-3 next season. And we actually have. I was proud that I called that. I still think it can work, but yeah. Can I pull up the passing network? Yeah. One sec. What's the best way to do that? I don't know how quick it gets data. I don't know. We'll find out, though. We can find out together. There we go. What midfield must he, mate? That's not as bad as I thought it would be, to be fair. It's just funny seeing it's Rodri sideways to Ake to Kasanov, sideways. Very little, because Foden's so advanced, man. It's not a coincidence that his best performances came when we were playing a 2-3 as well, by the way. Because guess what? He was actually playing deeper. That was the key there. Yeah, so, yeah, look at that. So it's just Rodri sideways to Ake and Kusanov. A couple of forward ones to Foden. But there's just no connectivity from Foden. Because that's not the role he's been given in this setup. So there's just nothing. It's Rodri or bust, basically. There's just nothing going on here. Nothing going on. Put the 2-3 in the bag, bro. Josh, I'd agree. Was this the second game we got Shirky midfield on and off ball? Yes. And on both occasions, we lost 2-0. And respectfully, he was not good. He's not yet ready to play in the midfield off ball. Clearly, is not ready. And I don't get why. Of all the games, for Pep to do it in, he did it Spurs at home from the off and United away. Insane decision-making to do that. If you want to try him in the 8 off ball, I'm not saying it can't work. I'm saying it's not optimal, but it can work. But is that the game to do it? No, obviously not. Do it at home against Wolves or something. Do it. I don't know, man. Do it against against those teams. To be fair, to be fair, it also happened against Exeter, and it also happened against who was it we played after Huddersfield in the League Cup? Was it Swansea? No, it wasn't. Cardiff? Who was it? What was the team we played in the second League Cup game? It doesn't matter, as for my own brain. It was Swansea, thank you, yeah. Yeah, technically he did do it then as well. They don't count. They don't bloody count. They're cup games against shit teams. As for actual opposition, he's done it twice. And it's not worked on either occasion. If you want to make it work, ease him into it. Ease him into it. He never did this for Lyon. He never did it for Lyon. Why are we trying to do it now? In really hard games. I don't get it. Why are you doing it? Don't get it. I would agree, Josh, yeah. Another reason why the 2-3 works. And Shirky as well. Shirky was thriving in those games. He had, in my opinion, arguably his best game was that to the Bournemouth one. I love that performance. That was probably my favourite. And this is why I will not shut up about it. That and the Liverpool game were my favourite performances of the season. Loved those games. Loved those games. I was like, oh my god, we're onto something here. We can win the title playing like this. This is the ceiling of this team. This is it. Sunderland's also up there, in fairness. Yeah. Innit? Mad. It's just insane. Don't get the decision making there. Don't get the decision making. Shaky midfield is a summer project. Maybe that can work. Again, longer. He's 21 years old. He's 21 years old. Maybe he can work on that. Maybe he can get better, of course. Even though I still don't think it's optimal, because I don't want to turn him into a player who has to do more defensive responsibility. I think that takes away from his offensive game, and I don't want to diminish that. But it could happen. But if you do want it to happen, don't make it happen now. Don't make it happen now. Yeah. And this goes back to big up to Casemiro. Fantastic game. Fantastic game from him. Casemiro, Fernandes was unbelievable. Luke Shaw was good, I thought. And Boom obviously got the goal. Yeah, the main ones in particular for me were Fernandes and Casemiro, though. They were so good today. They were just properly on it. Properly on it. What's the way forward? We've tried to discuss it. Short term, a couple of players need to be rested and taken out of the sides against Bodo Glimt and Wolves. Medium to long term, or long term, new players come in, players return from injury. Medium term, please give me my 2-3 back, please. I'll shut up for life if we do it. I'll shut up for life if we bring it back and we don't play well. In like the first game we bring it back, I will be quiet. I will be quiet if that happens. But guess what, guys? Respectfully, I sometimes know what I'm talking about, and the second half did illustrate that. And I feel like I know what I'm talking about there as well. Often, I get very nervous about takes because I'm not sure about them. There are sometimes, though, I'm quite certain about things. This is one of those things that I'm extremely certain about. Is that true? My accent gets thicker. That's fairs. That probably makes sense, doesn't it? Like, I imagine that's the case for most people, to be fair. I tapped out. Of what? Title race or life? Yeah, the passing was really good from Bruno. I can't even be mad. He was just fantastic today. He was brilliant today. Best player on the pitch. Wasted this month's goal against Exeter. It is annoying. In my opinion, it's worth it. You guys know, and I said this in my analysis video, I'm a big defender of Shirky. I'm a big fan of him. I do think that he's a player who is worth accommodating for defensively. But you do have to accommodate for him. The easiest way to do that is to do what we were doing when it was working. Someone keeps spamming. You're gonna unfortunately get timed out if you keep spamming. There's a reason why I'm not reading out comments that get spammed. A moderator will time you out. One of Thunder Road or Musty or whoever will just do that. So please don't spam. We're trying to have a conversation here. If we end up with 0 trophies, I might entertain a Pep out argument. No. I've given Pep a lot of shit today. And I disagree with a lot of what he did today. I was not happy with a lot of what he did today. But I'm not there, nor will I ever be there. I think no. I think he is worth accommodating for. I think so personally. But I think we have to accept he's a player you accommodate for. You see some midfielders in there recommended, oh, let's do Rodri, Reinders, Shirky. You're insane. But you're insane if you think that's going to work. We have to be realistic here. You have to accommodate him. That does have to happen. We can acknowledge that, and that's fine. And I think that the net positive is worth it. But we have to accept it is a thing. Otherwise, like, we're just not going to make any progress as in life. You know what I mean? Shirky with a ridiculous flip. Unfortunately, we didn't really see that today. Unfortunately, he came on and wasn't able to help. We got worse, actually, which is a shame. Would I take second and a domestic double? Yeah, I think I'd have to, wouldn't I? League Cup and FA Cup double? Yeah. Why not? Why not? From this point now, because I don't think we can win the title. So if you give me that, I'll say yeah. That's chill. How far do we get in the Champions League, actually? What do you mean? Let me know. Okay. I'll give you an opportunity for you to think about your comments there and my points. I want to see if you can figure it out yourself. That was a nasty challenge. Notice, by the way, how we've not... And big up to this chat for not doing it. I don't think we've once said that it wasn't fair because Dallo should have been red carded. I don't think this chat said that once. So big up to us for doing that. Because I don't want to talk about that. I don't care if it's a red or not. I take any trophy. Reasonable. Reasonable. Quarterfinals. Yeah, that's good. We'll take those. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. What is our style of play? Direct or possession? Well, go and watch the John McKenzie stream, because I asked this question to John, because this is something that I've been struggling with. It's something I've been struggling with. It feels like our City caught between two styles of play. Or what? And I don't know. It clearly feels like... Well, John's argument, and he did help reassure me a little bit, but this has made me go backwards. John's basic argument, and I think he is right here, was that it's obviously by design. It is because of the evolution of the meta of football. It's about striking the balance, though. Generally, this isn't. I don't think this is relevant for this game, by the way. I don't think this is necessarily relevant for today's game, but just generally across this season. Thank you, Spartacus. It wasn't fair because Dallas should have been sent. I hate you so much, Spartacus. Love you, matey. When did I become bald? Super chats, matey. Super chats. Thank you, matey. Random quote for Spartacus. You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum, which is what I am. That's from On the Waterfront, 1954. It could have been a contender. There we go. I'll be live for another 12 minutes. I'll make this 90 minutes, as usual. Vinny Junior quote. Oh, God. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. What do I want to say? I don't know. I feel like I've ran out of stuff to say. I feel like I've ran out of words, lads and lasses. I've ran out of words. Against United, man. Against United. Shut up, Spartacus. Stop exposing me. I didn't talk about those subs, but I don't even know what to make of those last subs. The half-time subs are the ones that piss me off the most. The late subs, it's almost like whatever. It's almost like he's going, you've embarrassed me. So I'm just gonna dick around here now. Triple, like, taking off Haaland, Bernard, Doku, playing like Nori left wing. it is almost. It's almost like he was sending. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. It's almost like he was sending a message of, "You've let me down here. I gave you all 80 minutes, and you've just disgusted me. So I'm bringing a child on instead." I don't know. I don't know. I know White Norris played left wing before. Like, he is an attacking player, so that's, you know, but it's just, I don't know. That's just my opinion, though, Elise. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is. Maybe like Pep saw something in the 2-3 that he didn't like, but I will never like a 4-man rest defense ever. Ever. I just think that's stupid. You should have 5 defense. You should have a body of 5 in defense and a body of 5 in attack, in my opinion. Doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical, but play like that if you've got like prime Fernandinho as your 1 and like monstrous centre backs as well, and just like monsters all over the pitch who can do that physically. What did you make of the game, Spartacus? What do you think is logic by VAR? The VAR room decided there was no red card on Dallo because he attempts to play the ball. It's a question of intensity, isn't it? What was the rest defense in the treble season? 3-2. So he had a 5. 5 is a bigger number than 4, guys. I prefer 3-2, but this squad isn't really set up for 3-2. It's set up more so for 2-3. Owl thought it was a yellow plus, I think. I can't remember. I don't know what he said after the replays. I'd like to go back to just what was working. I'd like to just go back to the starting 11 as against Bournemouth and the starting 11 as against Liverpool. I get that can't happen because of injuries, but replace them as best you can. You can't play Nunes, then put Semenyo in the Nunes on-ball role and tuck in Lewis if you can't start Nunes. Just play all the other defenders as you would. Don't know. I'm quite down, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I think I've said my piece. Lots of individuals didn't play very well, but at the same time, I don't get what Pep's up to. I've spoken about the halftime changes, about how they made us worse and why. You had to go back to what worked. You didn't. And that's 9 points dropped in 4 games. Is that right? 9 points dropped in 4 games in the Premier League, I'm pretty sure. I don't mind the Nico one, Sparta, because that was the one I was asking for. Nine points dropped. 4 games. 3 points from 12, as Musty says. Winless in the league in 2026. Fucking hell. I didn't think about that. Thank you so much, Alpha, for your super chat. It's very kind of you. Pattern for a few years. When we played top 8 away, we struggled. Today lacked intensity. Ake out this window. Rico never again at fullback. Ideally, we wouldn't ever play Rico at right back, but Nunes is out. Just goes to show how important he's been for us. How do we fix our midfield? I think, right, if you're going to persist playing like we are doing now, then Anderson has to come in the first instance. If Bernardo's going, Anderson comes in and he replaces him. There's two questions, isn't there? There's how do you fix it on ball, and there's how do you fix it off ball. The best way to fix the midfield would probably be to just go back to a 4-4-2. I don't want to do that, though, because I don't think that gets the best out of Shirky. That's the reason why I'm reluctant to go back to that, even though it might be better for the team. But I still think the Shirky one outweighs it. Spartacus crazy. Who'd have thunk it? Not us, that's who. Anderson coming in helps. Rodri being fully fit / available helps. So that's a straight swap immediately. So now either your midfield 2, if it's a 4-4-2, becomes Rodri and Anderson, or if you're rocking a 3-man midfield, it should probably become Rodri, Foden, and Anderson. That's how you fix it off ball, because what you have in that midfield off ball is a lot of good stuff. You have a fantastic defense. You have, in my opinion, the best defensive midfielder in the world in Rodri, who's obviously fantastic defensively, generally speaking. He's always fantastic at reading situations. You've got Anderson, who provides a lot of legs and a lot of running and a lot of duel winning and second ball winning. You've got Foden, who provides the same in respect to the running, like he's ran more than any other player per 90 in the league this season, something insane like that. So there's lots of things to like about that midfield, if that is our midfield next season. That's what I would suggest and go for. The off-ball works. The on-ball works as well, if you have it, because however you're getting Shirky into the side, so long as you give him central access on ball, play Foden a little bit deeper, you're gonna have a good time, as we have seen. So I think that's how you fix it. You bring in Anderson, and you better optimize Foden, and you better optimize Shirky, and I suppose you optimize Anderson, but we don't have him yet. So that's what I would suggest that you do. What about the pressing? Well, if you want to persist with this diamond press, having Anderson in helps, because now think about it as you got Foden and Haaland leading the press, and Bernardo's in that attacking midfield spot, but Bernardo is not an Anderson in that he does not cover ground in the same way that Anderson can. So if you've got Anderson in the attacking midfield spot for the press, then that does automatically help out a lot, in fairness. So that's a pretty big upgrade also. Yeah. Or perhaps you just abandon the structure. I don't know. As TJ says, maybe the diamond press should be scrapped. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Jury's still out for me on this diamond press. Still don't think I like it. I get it. Still don't think I like it, though. What about Foden, Rodri, Nico G this season? Says Awake. And the main problem with that probably is that we're still in a season... Because even though I do think that having Rodri and Nico in the same midfield would be lovely, it's just because Nico's had injury issues this season. And Rodri's obviously had injury issues this season. If you start them both, then you're losing the ability to rotate between one and the other. And in a season where they're just coming back from injury, I don't know if that's ideal. So even though I do like the idea of having Rodri and Nico in the same team, because of the context, I don't know if I'd be up for that. Because then what happens if, like, okay, well, they're both shattered, they need a rest. But then what do? You're stumped, aren't you? You're stuffed. There's nothing you can do. But there we go. We've discussed this, Kobe. You don't want Shirky in the midfield. Off ball. It's happened twice. It's not gone well either time. What positives do we still have to bring in the summer? Signing Anderson, hopefully. Signing a right back, hopefully. That's the main one, isn't it? That's the main one. Just because it hasn't worked twice. Okay. Present your argument as to why it would work, though. because there's no evidence of it working, nor are Shirky's traits lined up with it working. Because he never did it for Leon. He never did it for Leon. He's doing it twice for City against proper opponents, and it's not worked. Why would I risk making the midfield worse? What's the logical thought process there? Convince me. Charm me. Convince. This is your opportunity to convince me. Two, three. That's what I'm thinking, Pedro. That's what I'm thinking. We've been live for 90 minutes, by the way, so I will be live for like another few minutes or so. I'd be surprised if Cove even kicks a ball again this season, I'll be real. Anderson, another mid. I don't think we need another midfielder, because if you sign Anderson, then we've got, and assuming Bernardo and Cove go, then you've got 5 starting midfielders. Plus O'Reilly, plus Lewis. I think that's already too many. Predict next game's lineup. Oh, mate, I don't know what we're doing. Get Petri and Spartacus. You be quiet. How would an Anderson, Rodri, Nico G midfield work? I'd argue it wouldn't be ideal, to be honest, Larry. I mean, maybe it's like a one-off, but I don't think that would be like a go-to. I don't think that'd be a go-to situation. Tough day to do the stream, says Potato. Hopefully you guys were still able to get some value from this stream. I like to think that I have offered a balanced, fair, reasonable, and objective take on the game. That's what I always aim to do in these streams. Football is a very emotional, reactive sport. People say things they don't mean. People say things in the heat of the moment. The aim of this channel generally, and I'm liable to do it myself, the aim is to try to keep a measured head and try to offer an objective, neutral view. And I feel like I've done that today. And I could have been properly fuming and seething today because we've just been battered in the derby. And I'm disgusted at City that we've allowed ourselves to be destroyed by these bastards. But unfortunately, these bastards were way better than us. So hopefully you're still able to get something from it. I'm going to rewatch the game tomorrow. Hot take, yeah. Don't agree. That's reasonable, though. Rate my calmness, guys, out of 10. How calm have I been in this stream? Don't count the watch-along. That doesn't count. I lost my rag a little bit when that third goal... When that third goal went in, because I was like, what the fuck are you doing? We're not going to win. Stop fucking attacking, you twats. Stop it. I got properly annoyed in the watch-along. We are still in the cups. We are. Is that what it is? Fairs, man. Fairs. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Anderson coming in will help. Doesn't solve all the problems, though. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Haven. Show Drew's ears in. I've got to. Need to do the video, mate. You need to do the video. Ultimate, what the hell? Nah, Larry, because the idea of him starting against Exeter was for him to get his confidence back. Now, I'm sorry, if I'm not having a go at you, Larry, I'm having a go at Haaland here, but if Haaland needs goals against Exeter to improve his confidence, then we are having a bad time, because he should be able to score 10 goals against Exeter and it should not improve his confidence. He should feel nothing for scoring against a League One relegated side. And I'm applying that same logic to Wolves. I don't care if Haaland scores 5 against Wolves. If that is the difference, but if he is low in confidence, and if the difference between him not being low in confidence and being low in confidence is scoring a load of goals against a shit Wolves, then I'm sorry, he's not the player that I thought he was mentally. He's not the player I thought he was. I can't accept that. I cannot accept that. Pep always surprises me. Always surprises me. It was bad from minute 1, indeed. Are you going to say I need to be quiet, Jack? Is that going to be your way to suggest that? You know what? That's reasonable. That's reasonable, anonymous user. This is what I mean now again. Like Natasha, big up to you. Just take Savio out of the set. This isn't me trying to defend Savio's performances, but I'm just trying to illustrate a point here. Just take Savio out of the team and you'll play better. How many people at halftime were saying, just take Foden off at halftime, we'll play better. Just take Walker out of the team last season, we'll play better. Just do that. Just do that. Just do that. Oh, it's so straightforward and lovely and easy, isn't it? No, it isn't. This is a team game. And it's never, ever, 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 ever going to be as simple as take that one player out. It's never going to happen. So when people are saying that about Savio, oh, just take him out, we'll be great, we'll create all the chances and do all the lovely things, will be so much better. Well, fucking bullshit, mate. Because we've been wank without Savio in the team. It's nothing to do with him on an individual basis. Just annoys me. It's last season all over again. And last season properly depressed me. Not because of the performances. I don't really care about the... Well, I do care about the performances, but I can get over that. What I can't deal with is engaging with people who just think it's as straightforward as, just do that, do that. I'm sorry, lads. If I'm cooking a cake, yeah, and the icing I use is flavoured as shit, manure, feces, excrement, putting some sprinkles on it ain't gonna do dick all. Oh, just fucking wipe that shit icing off, then the cake will be gorgeous. No, it bloody won't. It'll stink and taste of shit. It's a weird analogy, but you see what I mean. It's not that straightforward. You can't do that. You need to make another cake. Hello? Where's my cake? I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm talking about here. Maybe that's a note to end the stream. I'm losing my brain. I'm losing my brain. I'm losing my mind. Big up to people for supporting the channel today directly. That's the best way to do it, by becoming a member of the channel or super chatting. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. It's been a hard past, I'm going to say 4 hours for me. Because as Musty said, basically from minute 1, it was not good. So it's been a tricky 4 hours for your boy. I'm on the top 6 on Monday as well, because I said to KJ that I would go on it regardless of result, because you probably want a City fan on after the derby. So that's going to be fun. So if you want to suffer with me, go to the football terrace at 6 o'clock on Monday and we'll chat about how shit City are. Big up to all my beautiful people in the Hall of Fame. Go to sleep. I'm going to my parents. We're going to have a lovely time. I'll be real. I love my family, and I love football, but I love my family more. I don't allow... That is one thing that I will say. As soon as I leave this room, no one in my personal life gets impacted by my thoughts on the game. That is when football's too deep, in my opinion. If you allow football to ruin your weekend, and by extension, like your partner's weekend, because you're a miserable bastard, or your family's weekend, then you need to grow up, quite frankly. So you can still feel bad and whatnot, but just don't allow it to impact other people, yeah? Because that's not fair on them, because they didn't ask for that. Unless they're impacted as well, in which case you can suffer with them. But I'm going to go to my parents' house. I'm not going to be moody. I can't enjoy myself today because City didn't win a game of football. I am over 5 years old at the end of the day. So I will move on with my life. Yeah, go for it. Excellent shout. Yeah, that's a great shout, Lubac. Yeah, that's mad, Sean, isn't it? That is mad. That's not the same as saying don't be passionate about football. That's not the same as don't be upset, obviously. But just don't allow it to be a cloud over your... Because right now, because if you do, your weekend's fucked. And if you're working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, your weekend is all you have for, like, fun stuff. Yeah? So don't try... I know it's hard. But try to still have fun. I can't move on because it's my job to talk about it. So I physically can't move on. But there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed today's stream somehow. I will do a post-match analysis. I wouldn't be upset if you didn't watch it. A lot of the analysis is going to be through the lens of how United played because they were the better side. So I'm going to frame it through a United lens. So I'm sure I might get a lot of United viewers shouting at me. But there we go. Big up to everyone. Thank you so much for joining. As I say, there will be a video tomorrow. And a post-match analysis video tomorrow. And then usual service next week with like Touchline Talks. And next week I need to work on the Gahey analysis video, don't I? That'll probably come out like Friday. Hopefully, the aim is before the Wolves game, but that's not a promise. If I need more time, I need more time. But it might be, hopefully it comes out before his debut against Wolves. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not promising anything, as I say. Thank you all. I've pressed the end button. We're going to end here. Big up to you all for joining me. Thank you very much. I'll catch you all next time.